Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Korra fan commentary track video. This one's going to be for Book 1 Air Episode 7, The Aftermath. So if you have other episodes you'd like to see me do as part of this Avatar and Korra commentary track series, definitely let me know what episodes you want of both shows to be done in the comment section below. But if you want to sync up your copy of the episode with this commentary track, have the episode ready to go at the start of the episode, including the introduction, whether that be from your Blu-ray, DVD, or online stream, whatever way you have it. And I'm going to finish up the introduction to this video here in just a little bit. Then there'll be about a 10-second pause with no audio, and when I start speaking again after that pause, that is when I'll hit play, that's when you should hit play, and we should be synced up after that. So, bringing the introduction of the video to an end, after the 10-second pause and you hear me speak again, you hit play and we should be synced up. Okay, so here we are with K107, The Aftermath. This is the episode I rate at, I think, the number 17 slot on my list, so pretty high up, like within the top 20. I definitely think this is a really strong episode. It's Asami's best episode, but it also has an amazing action sequence. It highlights that in Book 1, like, once you hit episode 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all huge, big episodes, very, very impactful, and this is definitely part of that set. And in this case, because of an Asami episode, which is not something you can often say, I think, in the series, that like Asami gets to be the star of the show. And I think what I'm going to be discussing a lot over the course of this commentary is how, as much as this is Asami's best moment in the series, could they have made more of an arc out of it? Because it's all about her big decision at the end to side with her friends, who she's only known relatively recently, over her father, because of, basically in her mind, what the right thing to do is. And that is to not follow Hiroshi down that path of hatred, but instead to side with her friends. And that's a big decision for her. That changes everything. But we know it was part of the story planning that they initially were thinking that Asami was going to also be sort of a villain in this book. And think about how that would be. The reveal of Hiroshi comes out, but that reveal comes along with the idea of Asami is also basically one of the like lieutenants of the Equalists. Like, how cool would that be? Hiroshi, Asami, Amon, and the lieutenant all as like the villains of the book. And then Asami's turn happens more at the very end of the book to coincide with her fight with her father. I'm almost wondering, like, would that be something a little bit better? Would that have created more of an arc for her? Because the problem, I think, with Asami is that you have the moment here, you have the episode 12 fight. You pretty much, I think, in my mind, have to wait until season 4 to get into the next, I suppose, big Asami-focused stuff, which is, of course, the reunion with her father, and then dealing with his death and so on. Everything with Asami is all about her father. In Book 2, it's about the company and the result, his reputation has on the company, and her trying to recover from that. In Book 3, she doesn't really have a plot to herself, and it's more about just her friendship with Korra. So it's about Book 1, and it's about Book 4 in terms of the big moments. But yeah, Laogan Lan, Cabbage Corp, and obviously it's revealed that like Hiroshi was kind of planting evidence and so on here. But yeah, I love the whole not my Cabbage Corp and so on. It's pretty cool. Especially because the comics, mainly the Rift, I believe it is, has the setup for Cabbage Corp of like the cabbage merchant notices some early technology and becomes interested in it. They haven't gone back to it all that much since then, but it's a cool little bit of setup. Really like this moment of like Tano post-bending loss and how changed he is by it. He's been to the best healers, and it's permanent as far as they're aware. Which was always this interesting mystery around, like, why can't you in any way figure out what's going on via healing? Not even Katara can locate it. Obviously, it's a unique ability, but I feel there's some way they probably should have got the explanation of Amon's technique out, and maybe through healers you could have done that. But Tano's just, the charisma's all gone, except a little bit of hope at the end. Avatar, of just like, there's still some hope for him, that maybe, even if he was just to remain a non-bender from here on out, he could get back to sort of the way he was. But I like that interaction of, just as much as there were sort of enemies for a lot of this because of the different teams, that he's like, you get them for me as well. And she's like, yeah, I'll do it. It's just a nice little dynamic. But yeah, we get to see 3 of the 4 main cast in their bathing suits. I think everyone was a little bit disappointed. We don't get to see Korra in it. But yeah, you know, we got to see the ATLA characters in like the beach and so on, and like so on. It would have been cool to see it again here, but you know, people love discussing that sort of fan servicey style stuff. And yeah, the brothers, this is such a different experience for them, getting to live in luxury like this. And yeah, Bolin's a little bit of a troll here with this, of like, drive me off, jump straight back in. And yeah, this is also some of our first proper interactions between Korra and Asami. And it's all about Korra thinking that Asami is this type of character, and she expects shopping, makeup, all that sort of stuff. But actually, no. Asami has a lot of other stuff. She's more interesting than that. Can race Saddlemobiles. She's a really good driver and like pilot, and of course we learn in pretty shortly that she's trained in martial arts like her whole life for self-defense. And yeah, this is a little bit of an arc between the two of them, of like, you know, Asami is going to teach Korra how to drive, which kind of works. Korra can technically drive at the end. She's not the best driver, but you know, she can. Mako can drive. But yeah, I like this. You get to see the Saddlemobile racing. You almost wish, like, is there actually like a racing kind of series within the Avatar world where they go to different tracks? This is obviously the like Sato like test track, or is it the Republic City track? We're not really sure. But just, it's cool here, just testing some of the high performance Saddlemobiles, and that Asami is not just like a fast driver, but she can do the sort of wheel to wheel racing, like actually like rubbing wheels, you know, wheel to wheel combat, and it's pretty intense. Like, it'd be one thing to just be skilled, but the fact that she can hold off a pretty aggressive driver like that shows that she can fight in these situations as well. And kind of proves herself, like, to Korra here. So it's like, yeah, this is someone I can get behind. And I like it. It's nice. Like, I think Turf Wars overemphasizes the importance of this scene between the two of them. In terms of, like, the way you're meant to view it as being like, finally the door opening between these two actually potentially being friends, having just been like, they should be jealous at each other before this. And it's nice. It's just, I don't think it's as big as Turf Wars makes it out to be. But yeah, she has self-defense, so she can defend herself. Powder room. And yeah, this is a fun scene to just be like, oh, Korra, makeup. And it's just like, dramatic music. What if I put this on? Full power. It's just like she takes a full, like, you know, wind up and like smashes into her face. But yeah, this is where Korra overhears her suspicions about Hiroshi rise, and kind of threatens the good dynamic that's developing between the group, of like, she's now going to be suspicious of Hiroshi, the investigation's already sort of going that direction, and now she's bringing even more of an investigation on, and it's going to threaten what seems to be a potential for a friendship with Asami, and so on. But yeah, it's an interesting one just over the course of this episode. It's Asami's big episode, but could they have made it into an arc that could have continued for more episodes to make her more of a character? Because even in the comics right now, I think they really struggle with what to do with her outside of just the obvious stuff of she should be there because she's Korra's girlfriend, because she's one of the main cast, because we need her to drive something. The plot, I feel, struggles to be really focused on her unless it's like business or something. And that's where, like, what they talk about here is interesting. You know, the wife, of course, is Asami's mother, Yasuko. And this is where, like, there is your option. That is something you probably should do eventually. Cover that backstory. What are the details surrounding what happened? Was the guy ever caught? What was Yasuko like? What was her relationship like with Asami? How similar is Asami to Yasuko? Because we see the connection between Asami and Hiroshi. We see how similar they are with, like, basically where Asami gets her skills from. But what does she get from Yasuko, and what was she missing in her life with the loss of Yasuko? Now, ultimately, they could do something very similar with the brothers, again, with their also tragic backstory. Especially if, like, potentially there was, like, a connection. That would be interesting to see. And yeah, you can see that, like, okay, there's Asami kind of making the point of just, like, are you targeting us because we're non-benders? And you kind of are led to believe, oh, has Hiroshi taken Asami down this path? Has he sort of convinced her entire life that benders are bad? But obviously not, because she's in the relationship with Mako, and they get on really well, and she does like him. She's interested in pro-bending. But again, with that potential plot point in mind, if they were considering going down the idea initially of Asami was a villain. So imagine if we got to the reveal here of Hiroshi, and then Asami revealed to be on his side, and instead of her going against Hiroshi, she went against the others. That would be a huge reveal as well. That, like, this whole thing here was an act. And then the plot is more like, actually, the act kind of was broken a little bit. She actually fell for Mako. She actually likes Bolin and Asami, and doesn't hate benders deep down. Because as we learn, Hiroshi kept her out of this. And that feels like so, like, why would you do that? Like, Hiroshi, it seems like he hates benders so much. Of course he would do everything he could to make sure Asami grew up hating benders. But no, he kept her out of it. And the answer is, like, why? Obviously, to some degree, he realizes that his hatred of benders isn't something you should just give to your daughter, especially when she's much younger. But it's interesting that the second she sees the truth, he then asks for, join me. This is why you should hate benders. And yeah, here's the drama between Mako and Korra. Korra stands her ground on this. This is what I believe. I know what I heard. And even if you're threatening to, break off our friendship, I believe in this. And look, it's Mako defending Asami here. It makes sense why he'd do that. And Korra is ultimately proven to be correct. And, the apology from Mako, I think, at the end is pretty good. Of, like, who could have believed this is what could have happened? Like, it just goes so wrong. And it highlights that book 1 is really good. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wonderful episodes. And even then, like, of the entire book, probably only episode 5 is the one that people point to as being like, that's not as good as the rest. But, like, episode 1's a good start. 2 is maybe the second weakest episode, because some people don't like the pro bending. But if you like pro bending, 2 is a great episode. 3 is fantastic. 4 is a very good character episode. And even 5, as being the weakest episode of the book, is still pretty well written and has great moments in it as well. But yeah, secret under the mansion. He is working for the Equalists. And, like, obviously, it's revealed to be a trap. Hiroshi has this all planned out of, like, okay, if they're onto me, let's use this investigation to get what I want, and let's take out most of the bending leaders of the city in one go to get everyone out of my way. Very clever plan. Now, it's obviously a risky plan. He's hoping that he can really take everyone out. But it ends up sort of working out okay. He ends up taking out a lot of the police officers, and if not for the betrayal of Asami against him, he probably would have got Tenzin, Lin, the Avatar, and everyone else. But yeah, this is kind of like Lin's last chance here. This has to go right, otherwise she's going to be forced to basically have to step down because of the pressure from Tarlok that we got in the intro. And yeah, Asami is unaware of what's going on. She doesn't know about the secrets underneath the house. like the workshop, and she's just like, oh, he likes to go out and mess around in the workshop. I told you. But actually, no, this is this whole secret thing. And it's a massive reveal. It's a earth-shaking, world-breaking reveal for her. The doubts begin to come in, and then when they find the secret passageway, the whole elevator thing down, like, everything changes, and she's forced to make this big decision. And I really like how they do it, and that's the thing. Even though it is one of Asami's only big moments, it's really well done. And it makes you like wish like we could get more moments like that from Asami, to see more of the character and not just what skill she has. And like Korra's like she didn't want this to be right, but she's just reporting on what she knew, and it is revealed to be correct. And like Lin is harsh here, but just kind of like keep these up here. Like Korra's official because she's the Avatar, and from her perspective, they're just two pro benders, and then the daughter of the guy we're going after here. Like you understand why she keeps everyone up there. But it creates this good dynamic of like everyone gradually sneaks their way down to kind of turn the tides. But it's very tense, the kind of build up here. Like, what are they going to find? And it's like, oh, lots of equalist propaganda. The mecha tanks that were, of course, foreshadowed in like the earlier episodes, just in the background. Here they are, in the flesh, basically. Very imposing of like, what are they going to do? And you get the idea of like straight away, you get a look inside them of like, it's a suit of some sort. You have to go inside it. And then, yeah, boom. The facility sort of locks itself shut. And yeah, he's not going to let them get down there. And I love this moment of just the brothers are like, okay, let's do one of our acts that we used to do out in the street. Let's con this guy. And I love this, the Mako firebending sneeze, of just that idea of like, yeah, like, is this something that happens with benders, of like when they sneeze, like a little bit of the earth element comes out. Like we saw Aang, of course, airbending sneeze, flies up in the air. You flew 10 feet in the air. Really, it fell higher than that. And firebending sneeze. I wonder what an earthbending sneeze would be. Do you just crack the ground or something? I loved as well Mako Bolin body slamming the police officer. But I like this moment between the two of them of just like, Mako knows like this is heavy. Her life's going to be turned upside down by this. You stay here. I'll check it out for you. It's better you maybe find out about this from me rather than go down and discover this right here and now. He's trying to protect her, but like I suppose physically and emotionally from what could happen. But yeah, platinum is a metal that cannot be bent even by metal benders. Even powerful metal benders. So that's a very important reveal of just metal isn't just vulnerable just because you have metal benders. And this is a perfect counter for the metal bender police force. This is why the mecha tanks as a plot point is so strong. They can't just manipulate the metal that they're made out of, and then all of their sort of gadgets are perfectly suited to counter primarily the metal bender police officers, but just benders in general. Of like, you have to do really heavy duty bending attacks to damage these things, and then they're perfect counters for, of course, the metal kind of whips that the police force uses. But I love Wolver Lin here, Spider Lin, whatever way you want to call her, just absolutely going crazy, stabbing away at that with her blades. And yeah, Tenzin we get to see do some really cool airbending. And I love how he sort of stays in the fight the longest, because of course he's an airbender, he's the best at dodging. Like, airbending would probably be the element they designed the tanks the least around. So there's that. And then yeah, this is crazy, just like Lin just gets KO'd, like smashed off a wall and is out. I like the sort of realism of all of this, of like they're going to take heavy blows. Of course they're going to be out of the fight. In that Korra here, like, gets smashed. And if not for Tenzin there, like, she could have got badly injured there. And now here we go. Tenzin with the dodging. I love that transition of just the air cycle. That's his, like, signature move. But yeah. He kind of builds up for a big move, but gets caught in the air. Electrocuted and kind of wrapped up. And just complete victory here. That the technology, if this got out there, like, are benders on their way out. Like, they can't beat these things. And they have to be more clever going forward. There's the lieutenant. And yeah. The brothers are here. They've snuck their way in. We have to act quick before everyone is taken away. But of course, like, they're right out there in the middle of the open. They have to just go for it. They're really putting themselves at risk here, but, like, they just have to do it. They're obviously going to be spotted, but they have to go for it. It's over if, like, 3 really notable benders get taken out. Hiroshi with a double shock glove. It's a really funny scene just because, like, you have 2 of these important characters just completely knocked out in the scene. Like Korra, there's the main character just completely knocked out. And yeah, here's the reveal fully from Hiroshi. Like, that he hated every second of what was happening. Seeing Asami in a relationship with a firebender. But he had to keep the act up to keep it hidden for as long as possible. But just showing that, like, his friendliness from before was a complete act. And here's the full reaction. Full betrayal. And I like the tone here because it's like, it is emotional, it's truthful, but now that you've discovered it, now hate them. I kept you away from it, but now you should hate them. Look what they did to your mother. They ruined the world, and it's intense. That's how deep-seated it is for him. But she didn't grow up thinking this way. She doesn't think this way. She can't think of benders as being that bad. And so the only decision that she can make here is she can't become like a terrorist, basically, like what they're doing. This betrayal hits her. And this is Hiroshi's kind of mistake here of, like, not incorporating her more into his plans from earlier. And it's a great shot here of, like, you think, is this Asami's turn? Is she going to side with her father? But no. She has to do what's right here. And just immediately, like, takes out the lieutenant, who's been a big threat up to now, and he's just gone right there and then. Everyone is like, whoa! And it's big. Like, she has just gone against her father. Like, this has changed her life. She's used to being, you know, one of the richest people in the world, and now that's gone. She's separated herself from that life. Where does she live? Where does she go? But she made the big decision. Regardless of the consequences, she did what she felt was right and sided with the people she felt she needed to. And yeah. Yeah. Valin is gonna resign, but she's not gonna give up. Yeah. She's loyal to her officers still. She's gonna get them back, but she's gonna do it rogue. That's how serious it's gotten here. This makeup is pretty good. Neither of them wanted it to be true, but they realized just the sadness of what's going on here. There's no point in being at odds. And it's really mature from Korra here to just be like, okay, like, this drama can wait. She needs you. You as her boyfriend now is, like, super, super important. And I can't get in the way at this point, because that would be, like, double pain for her. So nice moment from Korra there, just like, you know, go for her, Mako. She needs you now. And it's really well done. I think this entire episode, full stop, start to finish, is very well done. It's just that discussion point I was kind of making throughout the whole episode of, like, could they have made this into a bigger arc, a bigger plot point that stemmed across more episodes. Because as much as Asami makes the big decision here, it's made here, and then she's with the group, but it's not as important as it goes on. And it comes back, of course, in like the finale, of course, and her big decision, as she gets some big action sequences going up against the Equalists, and it's most notable with the fight at the end against like Hiroshi, and then Bolin coming in to help her out, and her getting the victory in the end. But would it have more impact if she was just part of the Equalists from the start, that it was revealed that like she's been sort of undercover, getting in close to the Avatar and her friends, and it takes up until towards the end for the big turn to happen, her siding in the big moment with her friends over Hiroshi, and the impact of that having suddenly happened, of like the betrayal in earlier episodes, and then like turning into she's with us, and how in the aftermath of that she would then sort of have to work to fully like regain the trust of some of the characters, and who does it first, and so on, as she's dealing with going to book 2 and the issues of like who's my friend and so on. I was just a part of this as well, that like in a way Asami is almost just as responsible for ruining the reputation of the Future Industries as Hiroshi is, and she's dealing with the business stuff as well as the sort of more personal life stuff. I think you could have made a bigger arc out of it. I respect their decision to commit to Asami being on the good side from the start, but it almost feels like in reflection that they maybe made what they felt like was the good decision at the time, but it would have been the more interesting decision to go for it in another way. Because what ends up happening is that it ends up feeling like Asami is a very sort of just very neutral character across the entire series. Like she doesn't, outside of like book 1 and 4, really get too many, I suppose, big emotional moments or strong moments where she gets to make big decisions like this. And it feels like if you had something like that, her be the sort of character who turns good, that could have been it. But yeah, this episode is fantastic. We can discuss what ifs, I suppose, all day. But I think fundamentally a lot of that discussion comes from a place of, I want to like Asami as a character more than I do. I just don't feel that there's enough there for me, personally, as a fan, to be able to latch onto enough to be like, she is one of my favourite characters. I'd love to be able to say that. I am eagerly awaiting the next big Asami moment. But I think it's been a while. I think it's getting a little bit forgotten because everyone's all about core Asami moments. And that's almost getting in the way of, what about a big Asami moment? And that's why I was a little bit critical of, like, one of the few things I was critical of in Runes of the Empire was their decision to have Asami be brainwashed. I stand by my criticism of, I feel that it should have been reversed. I think it would have been more impactful for the story if Korra was one of the only main cast who actually got brainwashed, and it was up to the supporting cast to have to fend off Korra. The Avatar brainwash is much more dangerous. You get the main character who doesn't need more development out of action, and the other characters having to get her back. And especially like Asami being in the relationship with Korra, it would have allowed her to take the lead on that, breaking through the brain control and so on. But that's just me, and that's the mode that I'm in with Asami right now, of just, I want them to give her more of the big character moments, and I don't think they've been doing that more recently. Again, I think they should do the backstory with Yasuko. I'd love to see the past, what exactly happened, the initial aftermath of that. You could use that to tell the Hiroshi origin story with the Equalist, how he came to meet Amon, and just maybe a change that overcame Asami after that. Maybe Asami was more expressive when she was younger, but maybe shut down a little bit more as we went on. Because I think that's something you'd associate with Asami, is that she's not the most like outspoken character in the sense of like, she at times remains kind of quiet and only speaks when she absolutely has to. You wouldn't say she holds back her emotions, but she just maybe holds back full stop. So her character is a little hard to define at times, and I think we need to get more of deep down who she is. And so that's just kind of what I'll end on, is like what I always say when I discuss Asami, is just that I think she's the most underutilized of the main cast. I think she's the member of the main cast that the writers, I think, struggle the most with in terms of what do you do with her in a story outside of the very obvious things of she will be the one to drive the car, she will be the one to fly the plane or the airship. You could always count on her in a fight, like the really obvious aspects of her character. But what about the character itself, characterization, her personality? I want to see more of that. So it all comes from a place of I want more, in the same way that Mako, who I think overall has kind of more bigger moments than Asami, I want more from him as well, because like he also was a character who, especially more towards the end of the series, it felt like, yeah, they also didn't know what to do with him either. So, you know, Asami and Mako are definitely the two that they deserve some big focus at some point. But yeah, that's been my commentary for the Aftermath. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on this episode. But that's the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.